Great. This is so interesting because there are so many emerging franchisors who don't necessarily have somebody in marketing that works for them, or they don't really have outsourced marketing. And I think you guys have a very unique spin on things. So why don't you share a little bit about your background and the opportunity that you guys have?
Yeah, thank you. So Your CMO, we are a franchisor with 23 franchises of fractional chief marketing officers. We go into companies and help them build growth strategies and really develop a core competency for marketing in their organization to help them achieve their objectives. And we do that in a fractional way. So if you can't afford a full-time head of marketing, but you need that full-time brain on the team, we make that available to you. And as you mentioned, we actually also work with emerging franchisors because as we've talked about before, they don't have the right team in place to help their franchisees really ramp up fast and get to break even and past that break even and then grow their unit economics to a very high level. And so we work with organizations to help them build the right grand opening plans and then the ongoing plans to help their franchise owners excel. And so that's just one example of what we do with our CMOs.
This is fascinating because everybody knows of having a virtual CFO, but you don't really ever hear of having a virtual CMO. And I know when I started out, I didn't have a marketing department, let alone a marketing person. So
right.
Why don't you share with us a little bit about what it looks like to be a client of your CMO?
Sure. So yes, fractional CMO is growing very rapidly, right behind the fractional CFO. But that was kind of the leader of that C-level role, switching to fractional. And so as people work with us, we use a set of fundamentals and a proven process to really build core competency. And those 6 fundamentals have to do with really identifying where the company is going in more detail than just we want to get to 10 million or 16 franchisees or whatever the case may be. There's a lot deeper understanding. We want to get into truly understand, why does the buyer buy from this company? What triggers the need? How do they find them? How do they compare them versus the competition? How do you engage them? We help them position their company, not just messaging, but the product offering, the price strategy, and everything to that customer so it attracts them to the business. We help their sales and marketing teams get aligned, especially when they have a B2B type model. B2C is a little more straightforward. And then we help them build that core competency of regular planning, regular measurement, regular campaigns that are all focused on driving those fundamentals that I mentioned. And in terms of a process, we offer a marketing audit. We help them understand, where are they today? What's the market look? Where are the opportunities? Where are they falling short? And we then build a foundational plan with them in person in kind of a workshop format. And then we run marketing. Like you said, you didn't even have a team. We run marketing on a fractional basis, and we use our CMOs as the leader. We offer a marketing coordinator as a little bit of extra hands-on support. And then we have a whole network of partners that we work with to help execute marketing. So you don't have to take on that overhead until it's right. And we can build your marketing team at the appropriate time.
So what led you to getting into franchising? Because this is kind of we have a dual strategy here, right? Our audience is made up of emerging franchisors, but then we have our audience of people that are looking to invest in a franchise. So let's start with the part of our audience of emerging franchisors are hearing this. They're starting their business.
Sure. Yeah. So what started, this all started when I was a marketing consultant. I had my own practice. I was kind of capping out, and it was hard to scale a one-person show. My business partner, Joe, was really seen in the market. Business owners were really frustrated with their marketing for a variety of reasons. And so we kind of merged these two concepts and made it a more scalable approach, like I just mentioned, with the fundamentals and the process. And then along the way in 2018, somebody came to us and said, wow, I see what you're doing. I see you have some clients. I'm tired of the rat race. I want to do that. I want to have my own practice. So we started licensing the model because it was very loose back then. And then all of a sudden, next thing we know, 2 years later, we have 8 folks, CMOs. We're much more formal. And we knew at that point we needed to formalize a franchise model. A license and something casual wasn't going to work anymore. And that's when we formalized the franchise, and then launched that in 2021 after getting all the franchise agreements and all that. And the nice thing for us is we already had a system in place. We had been building out our systems, our tools, our processes. We've been documenting those things. And so one advice to people who are thinking about franchising is make sure your systems and your processes are rock solid, because ours were really good. They're getting better every day, but they were really good. So it helped us move to a franchise model much faster than just not having anything.
Cool. And you're a little bit unique too in how you award franchises. So I understand you have 23 franchisees in 18 states, but territory is
Correct.
not really a factor. Tell us how you actually award franchises.
Sure. So our chief marketing officers have you know, 7 to 10 years of experience, especially most likely in certain industries or specifically in B2B or things of that nature. And so we actually, they have the opportunity to operate anywhere in the United States. We actually have clients worldwide. And so we align clients to franchisees and our CMOs based on industry experience, capability of what they've done before. And that match is way more important than geography.
What's the typical size of a franchisee? I'm sorry. What is the typical size of a client, a customer?
Sure. Sure. Our ideal client is about 5 to 50 million. We do have some startups that are well funded, that are ready for that hockey stick growth. And then we also have some above the 50 million where they just don't want to bring in a full-time marketing leader, and just want us to run their marketing effort on a fractional basis. But that 5 to 50 million is the sweet spot from size. The CEO's really got to be growth minded. They've got to be ready to really scale. And industry wise, we're in 40 plus industries. So our CMOs have a breadth of knowledge. So industry, we can almost hit any industry, right now. So that's really our ideal client.
And then what about from a client's perspective, is there a certain size where I say to you, know what, Jay, I love my franchisee, but I'm ready to kind of take the reins over? Is there sort of this transition period? What does that generally look like, where the size that a customer gets to where they're saying it's time for me to kind of break away?
Size varies dramatically. It's really more, there's a lot of factors in that, but we call that graduation, by the way. So when clients are ready to graduate and we put in a head of marketing, we make sure that they are using the 6 fundamentals and the core processes. We begin to step back. We'll run their quarterly meetings just to make sure they're following the process. We'll check in a little bit and really make sure that their new leader is using the core competencies we've built, and are ready to be supported. And they're not really overwhelmed by taking on their new role. And so we do see that. It really is different by company. Sometimes the smaller revenue companies are faster sooner than the larger revenue companies, but it could be vice versa. And so it's just, we always know when the time is right to begin to transition, because that's our ultimate goal, is to help the client build this ongoing marketing machine that they can have there ready to grow their business.
That's great. What about the franchisee themselves? What is the background, or what are the traits of a typical Your CMO franchisee look like?
So their experience typically is 7 to 10 years of marketing leadership, and then they, could have 20 to 30 years overall experience. That leadership is really critical when our clients look at our CMOs. In terms of industry and B2B, B2C, they want to see that robust experience, and that they're not just hopping around and kind of skimming the top of those. They want to see some real deep knowledge. And then the other thing is they want leadership. They want people, and we assess and do some assessments with our new CMOs on leadership qualities. We want somebody who can lead the process, but also collaborate with a C-level team. Because there's this, we like being considered an insider, a member of the team on the org chart, but the reality is we are not full-time employees, and so there is this balance of leading and collaborating, and our CMOs really need to truly understand that.
So you really have a much richer background. There's a much more seasoned marketing executive that's becoming a franchisee. It's not somebody that just says, hey, I love this concept and I want to be a Your CMO franchisee. They really have to have a solid marketing background.
Exactly. Yeah, we're unique. Many people don't qualify to be a Your CMO franchisee because they don't have that marketing leadership and that marketing experience, which is a blessing because we have a very narrow group of folks that we can focus on to make successful. On the flip side, yeah, it opens up when you have a more traditional franchise in the market that somebody wants to invest in from an investment mentality. That narrows that down quite a bit.
Thank you for tuning into the Emerging Franchise Brands podcast. For additional insights, guest applications, and to stay connected, visit us at efbpodcast.com. The Emerging Franchise Brands podcast is for entertainment purposes only, and the views expressed do not necessarily represent those of Emerging Franchise Brands, its host Frank Fumey, or Emerging Franchise Group LLC. Any discussed franchise or investment opportunity requires thorough investigation, obtaining proper disclosure documents, and expert consultation before making any investment decisions. The podcast and its host do not offer professional advice or endorsements, and they hold no responsibility for actions, representations, accuracy, or consequential damages related to the podcast content.